Initially, we considered, this would be part of the film, but, we shot this film during a pandemic. We had a lot of time in the hotel to work together and come up with new scenes and to work on our story, and we just shot a lot of movie. So in the end, we realized, we love this sequence, and it's extremely important for me as a storyteller, because I believe that the dinosaurs are characters, and so it's an origin story for the T-Rex, and I wanted it to be told, and so Universal was totally down with experimenting with actually sharing 5 minutes of finished movie as a prologue 6 months in advance, which I think is kind of cool. What Jurassic Park, and especially what Jurassic World, is about for me is the humility of recognizing that we have only been on Earth for this very small sliver of time. And for us to have the ability to take people back to that time, to go to a point before anything that looked remotely like a human had appeared on the Earth, and realize that these creatures existed, they lived here. I think that there is a great sense of context that it gives us for our place in world history, which is really just this tiny little sliver of time. The best part of my job is being able to choose which dinosaurs go in which movies. As somebody who cares a lot about our films and about dinosaurs, being able to hold on to some, meter it out carefully. So I feel like every time I get a request, from a fan on Twitter, why not this dinosaur? Why not this dinosaur? My answer is always like, I'm just trying to hold on to a couple. Like, we just want to save some surprises. And this movie, we really get to show some dinosaurs that I love that we've been holding on to for a long time, and knowing that we had the chance to go back to the Cretaceous and see the Oviraptor, see the Giganotosaurus. Several of these are going to play major roles in the film itself. These are living creatures, and animals aren't always fighting. I think we bring our own humanity, our human instincts are brought into dinosaur instincts, because we usually just have dinosaur toys and we're like, rah, and we just make them fight. That's us. In reality, dinosaurs are predators, but if there's a shared water source, they'll all come to that lake and drink together. And a big part of this movie is making a connection between animals that live on the planet today and how we treat them and how they coexist with us and dinosaurs, because that's the question that it's positing. So for us to really be able to get to see them in their natural habitat, just see them drinking water, see them moving in herds, all of these things, I feel like the first time you watch it might almost seem a little quiet. Hopefully it's not boring, but it's not the kind of aggressive kind of action that we show in our blockbuster movies. But that was the opportunity in it for me. As a dinosaur nerd, I found that very exciting. Actually, I really like this little, the Morris Intrepidus, which is a very recently discovered dinosaur. It looks a little bit like a T-Rex, but it's about this big. It's in the movie too, and so we're introducing it here. But I like small dinosaurs, maybe because as a kid, I imagine having one as a pet. And so this particular one, I just love that we managed to take something that really was discovered, months earlier, that we saw an article about it. We looked into it and we were able to put it into the movie. I think we have a really good logical explanation for why there are dinosaurs that look different than the other Jurassic dinosaurs have looked in the past. In this case, it's that we are showing them in their original habitat. There was not frog DNA used to bridge the gaps in the genome, so it gave us an opportunity to show dinosaurs with feathers, as you'll see in this prologue, and also to show that our T-Rex, and it's the exact same one, looks a little bit different now that whatever gaps existed in her genome had to be bridged. So we didn't want it to be unrecognizable. This is a heroic character. It's a character we love and care about very much, and it allowed us to give context to what those 65 million years really represent in world history. It's an origin story in the way that we might get to do in a superhero film, and the T-Rex is a superhero for me, and it's really allows us to take this brilliant concept that Michael Crichton conceived, that is the foundation that all of this has been built on, and show it in its absolutely purest form. the drama between these two characters. They were circling lions, and then the fight is actually mercifully short, as often fights in nature are. We watched a lot of nature videos for this movie. To me, understanding that this is, it's a bit of a personal face-off. It's one that hopefully the audience won't like seeing the T-Rex die. I hate it. I don't like seeing the T-Rex die at all. It's painful for me. It's a character that I love, and I don't mind if you hate the Giganotosaurus. This particular mosquito caused a lot of problems in a drive-in 65 million years later, which it's a lot to put on the shoulders of one mosquito, but it's what happened. The movie fan of me getting to have a chyron, a subtitle that says 65 million years later is, I know how nerdy it is, but I enjoyed it very much. I lived in Vermont for a long time, and I did find that the drive-in movie theater, at least there and in other places, tends to be outside the town for light pollution and closest to the wild of anything. And so we found that, an animal that's attracted to potentially, flashlights and flares might see that and be attracted to it. So it worked for me on a logic standpoint. And, it took on its own life. We shot it before the pandemic. Drive-ins became, the way that we were going to films during the pandemic. So for the T-Rex to rock up to a drive-in and tear it apart, and it turned into this announcement that, we're going back to movie theaters, like for me personally, which I thought was cool. When she roars in front of the screen and the film burns up, the moment that happens, there's something that this movie's doing that none of the other Jurassic films have done in any sustained way, which is to put dinosaurs into our world, into our real world. And so the idea that she is, breaking out of the movie screen and now she's going to exist among us was something that Emily and I found to be, pretty crucial as a way to start the film. I guess I've gotten to know her so much over time that in the same way that, if you have a dog, someone can tell you what their feelings are based on where their ears are and, where their face is and whether it's elongated or not. And in this case, I feel like that roar is a little bit more one of desperation and confusion. She's on the run and there's a helicopter chasing her and she just does not know, what world she's in. And being able to juxtapose the natural environment that we find her in and now, essentially being on the run from the cops, I found to be, such an awesome contrast. Being able to have our legacy characters and our Jurassic World characters in one film together, to me it was important because I think the idea of this movie is it's a big idea. It's a different as a film that we've ever made in this franchise. And I think when you are pushing something as far forward as we are, to have an element of it that is familiar, to have characters that you know and love venturing with you into the new space feels crucial. And Ellie and Grant and Malcolm are on this full adventure. They're a huge part of it. They're equal players to Owen and Claire and Maisie and our new characters we brought in. And the challenge of a movie like that is to give every character their due, to honor everybody. That's part of what this prologue was about, is that I didn't feel, if we didn't have this in the story, that the T-Rex was being honored. And she's a character too. And so that's why I'm just grateful that we get to share this with everybody now, as opposed to it being something, that you see down the line on the Blu-ray or so. I feel like it matters enough to show it to everyone in this moment.
And for everything else Jurassic World Dominion, stick with IGN.